All right, guys, I got an awesome video for you. Everybody wants that slow, effortless, smooth, but powerful swing. How do guys like, Davis Love III, Fred Couples, those guys look like they're barely moving at all and they crank it out there 300 yards. How does that happen? And there's actually a couple of real scientifically based principles that have to happen if we want to hit those long drives and look smooth while we're doing that. Let's start out with the hands. Now the only place that I'm putting any force into this club is through the hands into the handle. That's going to determine everything that happens with my club head. That's going to determine everything that happens with the distance that I get on the shot, how many miles an hour club head speed I get. Everything is happening right here at the handle. So without my hands putting force into this handle, the club doesn't do anything. Now, if I want to be able to put the most force and be able to do it smooth, basically I need to create the biggest amount of room for this handle to move, or the longest amount of time that I can create speed in the swing. So if my hands get up here nice and high, and we're going to go over this in a little bit, some cheats to get the hands back there a little bit easier, even if you're not very flexible. But for now, let's just talk about what's actually happening. The farther this handle goes back, the more time and space I have in the downswing to apply force to the handle, to be able to apply speed to the handle, and to be able to hit that ball a little bit harder and a little bit farther. Let's actually put this to the test though. It's easy for me just to say, hey, this is the way it happens and provide no evidence. That'd be silly. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to swing as hard as I can, and I'm gonna start with the hands moving very slow or a very short period of time, and then I'm gonna gradually do that longer. Now, Voice Caddy, this is called the Swing Caddy 2, and this is a really cool device. Basically, for just a few $100s, it gives you very accurate reads on club head speed and ball speed, which are going to determine your overall distance. So it's a really, really good practice tool. So if I set this up behind my ball, that's all you have to do, and this thing is ready to go. So I just set it up a few feet behind my ball. It has a remote that comes with it. Let me grab my remote, and let's switch this to driver so that it knows what club I'm hitting. I'll just leave that in my pocket, and we're ready to roll here. Let's start out making short swings with the hands. So here, all I'm gonna do is move the hands back a very short distance, and I'm gonna try to hit this ball as hard as I can from that very, very short hand swing. I blocked it way out to the right. Terrible shot. I mean, I put out 100% effort into there. My club head speed was 72 miles an hour. My ball speed was 108. So let's use that as our starting speed. 72 miles an hour, as you saw. Very short hand path. That was for no lack of effort. I tried to rip that golf ball. I just didn't have enough space to create that club head speed. Now let's go a little farther back. I'm gonna go slightly farther back. Again, 72 miles an hour was our club head speed. Let's see what happens as we go a little farther back on this one. There we go, so still a shorter backswing. Put out a lot of effort on there. Ball actually went pretty far. 111 club head speed, 157 ball speed, 287 on the distance. That was pretty good. I hit that great, and really that's the trap that a lot of people fall into. They make this kind of 3/4 backswing to here. They swing pretty hard at it. You're already keeping up with your buddies, but you feel like you're putting out a lot of effort. You feel like you're just kind of muscling the club through to get that speed, and then you see this scrawny little kid come up here and make an easy swing and outdrive you by 30 yards. That's the next piece of this. Let's go ahead and take that hand path a little farther back to my full speed swing. You'll notice I'm not going to swing very hard at this one. It's going to look smooth, but I bet you my club head speed goes up quite a bit. So we went in the 70s, we got a 111. Let's see if we can get up closer to that 120 range with a nice fluid swing. There we go, rip that one. 120 miles an hour, just like we were hoping. 316 distance and 174 ball speed. That's some pretty fast ball speed. So what that's showing there is the more room I create with my hands and arms, the longer my hands and arms can travel, the more speed I can get. Now, what do I have to do with our body? It's one thing to say, okay, swing it farther back with the hands. Like, thanks, Clay, I get that. I understand. If I could, I would already be doing that. But now let's talk about what we have to do with our body, even if you're not very flexible, to make that happen. Let's talk about the shoulders and the hips here. So if I make a short backswing, essentially what's happening is I'm locking my legs. I'm not letting my legs move and pivot. If I go ahead and let my legs have some knee bend, if I straighten my right leg a little bit, just a little bit, and I'll let my left leg come in, you can see that I can start to get some turn. So if I had to go like this and turn my hips, that's what creates the rotation from the hips. From there, we can create some separation with the shoulders and add to that, and that gets us a little bit more. So a bigger shoulder turn and hip turn. Now, if we're not very flexible, or if we're locking in the legs, let me try to turn my hips as much as I can without really moving my legs. Nothing really happens. My legs have to move to get this to happen. So we have to let those hips turn and these legs kind of straighten and bend. If I go from this way, you can see on the back swing, that's happening. Through swing, that's happening. So my right leg straightens a little bit in the back swing, my left leg comes in. In the through swing, my right leg comes forward, my left leg opens up there too. So that leg action has to happen to be able to get that club head speed. Now, when I take this a step farther, like I said, with my shoulders, I'm going to be able to create some separation there. So if I go ahead and let that leg action happen, sorry for the golf cart there, if I let that leg action happen, get as much shoulder turn as you can, and let's see how far we can get this club to rotate back. I would love to see, if you put this club across your shoulders, go ahead and grab it on the tips of your shoulders here. We don't want to hold it down here by our arms. We're talking about all the way up on the shoulders. Get those legs to rotate, get that club to go back as far as you can. You'll see I'm only going to about 90 there. In order for me to get a little bit more, I have to let that left ankle barely start to come off the ground, and now I can really rotate back. If I go from this way, that left ankle barely comes off the ground, now I can really start to rotate that back from there. Do a good 20 to 30 reps, practicing that good full turn. And now let's go ahead and put it to the test. So once you've done this practice, this full turn, big shoulder turn, coming back and through, you're feeling comfortable with that. Let's see what this actually does when I apply it to the golf ball. Again, on this one, just watch my hips. I'm gonna do a very short hip turn going back, and let's see what our club head speed does. So again, I'm trying to swing hard. I just felt like I limited my hips. 109, again, that's pretty fast. You're probably going out there limiting the hips. You hit a couple good ones, you say, okay, well, that's just about all the speed I can get. Let's go ahead and now try to let those hips rotate a little bit more and see what kind of club head speed we can get with those hips moving a little bit better. There we go, a lot better on that one. 119 club head speed. So I'm picking up almost 10 miles an hour by letting those hips rotate. You'll also notice in those swings, when I don't let my hips rotate, so again, let's do another one here where I don't let my hips rotate. Watch what happens to my shoulders on this one. You'll see on this one, my shoulders don't go back very far. Again, swung as hard as I could. 105 club head speed. If I let my hips go and my shoulders go, so we're gonna do these just like the practice drills that you did. Let those rotate. You're gonna see my shoulders go a little bit more on this one, and you're gonna see that club head speed immediately start to jump up. All right, guys. So let's recap on what we're gonna do with these drills. If we want that smooth speed, it starts from the hips. The more my hips rotate, the more it allows my body to rotate. The more my body rotates, I'm allowed my shoulders to rotate. The more my shoulders rotate, the longer that hand path. And the longer that hand path, the more speed you can create and the smoother that speed can be in the swing. So we put that to the test. We tested short hands and long hands. Long hands went way farther with club head speed wise. We tested not very much shoulder rotation and more shoulder rotation. Again, same thing. Picked up like 10 miles an hour swing speed, just a little more shoulder rotation. And we checked the hips, getting a little bit more hip rotation. All those things added together to get us a little bit more speed, but to make it smooth while we're doing that. Now the next thing we need to do is I have a great bonus for you guys. We talked about how this happens, but let's go ahead and work even more on those shoulders. That's the real link here. If we can get the hips and the shoulders turning more, my hand path is automatically going to get a little bit longer. And that's what we call the power turn in the Top Speed Golf system. I've got a great bonus video going over exactly how to do that. So just go ahead and click the link somewhere on your screen, or the iCard on your screen, or the link down below in the description of this video. You'll get instant access to that power turn video, and we'll really solidify what we worked on here today. Let's knock it out of the park, get it ingrained once and for all, so that way we don't have to think about it anymore. Let's go ahead and get started. But with the correct technique, we can all hit it with really good distance without a lot of muscular effort. And it all starts out, the very first thing you have to do is get a good powerful turn to load up the body. And it's not only in golf, but in all sports we have to rotate the body at least 90 degrees with the shoulders as you swing to the top. Preferably, we can go even a little bit past 90 to really get loaded up. That's going to allow us to have a lot of power. So we don't just have to look at golf for this. Let's actually look at other sports. They're rotating their body, then they're coming forward. So we have to get that load. We have to get this big shoulder turn to be able to create power in the golf swing. So in this series of videos, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. That's one of the first keys to getting power, and we're all going to get at least a 90-degree turn, if not more than that. I think you'll be surprised at what you can do. So let's go ahead and get started with the next series of videos, and I'm going to show you how to get this big, powerful turn. All right, guys, so before we go, let's take a look at this in action with some of the top pros. Now here we're looking at Adam Scott, and you're going to see as he rotates to the top, good full shoulder turn. This is pretty typical of what I see with the top pros, a little past 90. Those guys are working on their flexibility, so sometimes they can get to 100 or even 110 degrees.